Call to order the February 11th meeting of the Shelby Township Planning Commission. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Dallo?
Here.
Ms. DeSico?
Here.
Ms. Poutras?
Here.
Mr. Turner?
Here.
Mr. Apone?
Here.
Mr. Flynn?
Here.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
Great. First item is approval of the agenda.
So move.
Support.
Moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next, approval of the minutes from the January 14th meeting.
So moved.
Support.
By Moore, support by Dalu. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. This evening, we have three items. First, a site plan, and then the next two are rezoning petitions, which are both public hearings. First, site plan number 18-50, Sarah Just, Great Lakes Mini Storage. If the petitioner representative is here. We need your name and address. When you're done speaking, sign in. If you want to let us
Fine,
know.
you're gonna have to help me with my address, because I don't know what it is. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Kurt Anderson. I'm the engineer of record for the site plan. With me tonight is Sarah Just, who will be the owner, business owner, and developer for the property. I also made Jim Ferns come, just in case you guys had any questions relative to Shelby Corporate Park. He's the developer owner of that property. So Sarah is in the transition of buying parcel 6 from Jim. So I went over the comments from the engineering and the planning group from Glenn. We're concurrent with all the items that have
Okay,
been
why don't you
raised.
start off by just explaining what it is you're looking to do here?
Oh, sure. Well, I'll turn it over to Sarah. Sarah has a
Okay.
better handle on the business side of things and what
Great.
she's proposing.
Need to do my name and address?
Please.
Sarah Just, 1680 Norfolk Street, Birmingham, Michigan, 48009. And my husband and I Chris Just, will be the owner and operator and developer of Great Lakes Mini Storage. What we're looking to do is take a 6.34 acre parcel and purchase it from the Shelby Corporate Park development that's being done right now. And we would like to build 10 buildings in total. One will be an office and apartment, and then the other will be 9 self-storage facility buildings. They will be 1 story. They will range in size from 5 by 10 to 20 by 40. They will all be drive-up. They will be made of steel. They will have a locked access, gate. It will be gated entry with code access. Non-climate controlled. So we will be doing that. By way of background, we own an existing facility in the Mount Clemens area that's been running without incident, and we're in good standing with the city of Mount Clemens and Harrison Township. So we would like to enter into Shelby Township and build something here as well.
Okay. To the planner, Ms. Mizich, did you do the review on this?
I did. We did a preliminary review for this site plan, so we vetted out a lot of the comments that I originally had and also the engineer had. You do need a couple of variances for the communication tower and also the fence in the front yard. But basically, great site plan, no issues. All of the other concerns can be handled,
Okay.
no problem.
To the board, any questions?
Just, I was just curious. I've been asking Julie all week. You're gonna have a caretaker live there 24/7? Is that the idea with the little mini house?
Yes. Actually, my husband and I will be living there to
Oh, wow.
ensure that everything, starts up and that we're on site to make sure that everything is in working order. And so that's the plan.
Owner, operator in every sense. All
Yeah.
right.
Exactly.
Looks great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, good. Anyone else? All right, thank you. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Moore.
I move to approve site plan 18-50, Sarah Just, Great Lakes Mini Storage, 52503 Jimmy's Drive, part of parcel number 23-07-14-100-048, located south of 24 Mile Road, east of Shelby Parkway, subject to the submission of a revised site plan addressing all department comments and the approval of the required variances from the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Support.
Okay, moved by Moore, support by DeSico. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner DeSico?
Yes.
Mr. Dalu?
Yes.
Mr. Boutros?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Apone?
Yes.
Commissioner Flynn?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Good luck.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification on the variance procedure, how does this move forward from here? Let's say hypothetically, the variance gets denied, would we come back to the planning commission meeting? Is that how that would work?
Yes, and you're on the next agenda for the variance.
And when is that date?
Yeah, March 7th.
March 7th? Okay.
You're all, I mean, you were organized from the beginning. So real complete package, you're ahead of yourself, so.
Yeah, you know, I actually am the planning commission's representative on that
Oh,
body.
great.
And
Okay.
so they do take into consideration how this body acts and that we are aware when approving a site plan,
Okay.
that there were these also circumstances that need to be addressed. How's that?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Fair way to put it?
Perfect.
All right. Next item is rezoning petition number 01-19, Nino Lachurko. I will ask the secretary to read the notice as published, please.
Charter Township of Shelby, notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that the Planning Commission for the Charter Township of Shelby, Macomb County, Michigan, has received a request for approval of the following amendment to the zoning map. Applicant Nino Lachurko, Nino and Associates Realty Company, 2553 23 Mile Road, Shelby Township, Michigan, 48316. Rezoning request from light manufacturing to R8 multifamily residential. Location, 56481 Mound Road, south of 26 Mile Road, west side of Mound. Legal description is as follows. Sidwell number 23-07-05-200-015. The Planning Commission will meet on Monday, February 11th, 2019, at 7 p.m. in the Shelby Municipal Building, 52700 Van Dyke, Shelby Township, Michigan, 586-726-7243, for the purpose of holding a public hearing on the rezoning application. The application for rezoning, zoning ordinance text, and zoning map may be examined at the Planning and Zoning Department in the municipal building Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Written comments may be submitted to the Planning Commission at the above address prior to the hearing. Oral comments will be heard during the public hearing. This notice is provided pursuant to the requirements of Michigan Public Act 110 of 2006 as amended. Shelby Township Planning Commission, Jerome Moffett, Chair. Raquel Moore, Secretary. This was published in the Shelby Utica News on January 23rd, 2019. There were 205 property owners, 2 applicants, and 9 utilities were notified by first-class mail on January 18th, 2019.
Thank you. Mr. Kirk, did the publication meet all legal requirements?
Yes, it did.
Okay, thank you. The process for the public hearing this evening will be as follows. The petitioner or representative will come up, state what they're requesting, the reasons for it. Then I'll bring it to the board for the commissioners to ask questions. Then I open it up to the public. The public can then ask whatever questions, make comments. Then finally, we'll allow the petitioner to come back to address those questions before we offer a motion to make a recommendation.
Thank you. Pete Snyder, Urban Land Consultants, 8800 23 Mile Road, Shelby Township, Michigan, representing Nino Lachurko, the applicant in this rezoning request. The parcel that we're dealing with tonight is on the sort of the southeast side of the Macomb Orchard Trail, west side of Mound, just south of 26. It's zoned LM right now. On that side, it's bordered by an R8 to the south and an R7 across the trail. And then it's light manufacturing across the street. It's about 19, a little bit more than 19 acres. It's a parcel that we've been doing some planning layouts for the last 4, 5, 6 months. Put a lot of different sort of building styles on there to see what's going to work out. Haven't really landed on one for sure, although there's a leading candidate. And so we're requesting R8. Just so you're aware of it, it's unlikely that we'll get R8 density on that site. So if you're going to ask me, hey, why are you asking for R8 if you know you're only going to get 5 units an acre or 6 units an acre because of the easement? It has more to do with the setbacks. As you know, it's my habit to come in here and ask for lots of variances, sometimes related to setbacks. And the R and occasionally other things that I think are
He was admonished,
appropriate.
by the way, last Thursday for it as well.
So, so hopefully with an R8, there's a little bit more flexibility with setbacks there, and it might allow me to avoid some, a variance request at my client's behest. So we'll see. So with that, I'm certainly available for any questions. Again, it's a little bit of a unique site, and, but he'd like to develop it as multifamily rather than light manufacturing, so.
You know, as a person that lives very close to that site, it makes perfect sense to me. And it's a far more logical use than how it's currently zoned. Any questions from anyone?
Did we do the floor art?
Randy.
No, I gotta do that yet, so.
Oh, I'll comment at the end. You want me to comment now? I comment now if you want.
Sure.
I felt the same way as you do. We do get a lot of political, as the political rep on this body, we do get a lot of pushback on apartments, but when you really did the math on it and did the deep dive and read the traffic comments from the engineering firm, you realize that this is going to generate half the traffic as if it was developed light manufacturing, and it's all manufacturing or other condo apartment product in that area. So yeah, I agree it will be a good fit. It's certainly a better use than how it's zoned.
For sure. And frankly, the development to the immediate south is an apartment, I guess technically an apartment, but it's higher end and it's a great use and has been a nice use in the township. Is there anyone else that wanted to comment or any questions? Okay, thank you. This is the only public hearing the Planning Commission will hold on this rezoning request. Your remarks will be entered into the record for Township Board evaluation. The Planning Commission is a recommending body. The Township Board will take into consideration these comments when making the final decision on the rezoning. At this time, anyone from the audience is free to come and either state their opinion or ask a question. And I guess that would be you, sir. No, you're here for the next one? Okay. With that, I will bring it back to the planner, Ms. Mitsich. I understand Mr. Part-Timer is making you do all the work now?
I support this request in that the change in zoning is consistent with the land use pattern in the area. Also, the current zoning of the property is LM, and it creates an isolated parcel within the surrounding properties. So multiple family is recommended in this area. Also, the boundary line for the LM zoning is illogical, and modifying it to be, consistent with the surrounding area is also preferable. And also the irregular shape of the property, the wetlands, the location of the drain is also difficult to develop this property as zoned. So I recommend approval.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Anything else you want to say?
No, I think that's complete.
Very good.
Thank you.
Our decision this evening and our recommendation was based on the following: practicality of this rezoning request and the effect on the surrounding area, the owner's right to use his land, do current growth and development patterns warrant this rezoning, and is the proposed rezoning in accordance with the master plan. At this point, we can recommend approval, we can disapprove, or we could table to evaluate the information further.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Turner.
I move to recommend approval to the Township Board rezoning application number 0119, Nino Luchurco, from light manufacturing to R8 multiple family low-rise based on the following reasons. The proposed change is consistent with the recommendations for this area based on the adopted master plan. The change in zoning is consistent with the development pattern in the area. The change in zoning would provide a more uniform and consistent development pattern. The rezoning will provide new housing opportunities that accommodate needs of residents at all stages of life. The change in zoning will not adversely impact any abutting development, and the site would be difficult to develop as currently zoned based on the shape, and is not a preferred zoning district along the Macomb Orchard Trail.
Support.
Okay, moved by Turner, support by Apone. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Apone?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mr. Dalu?
Yes.
Ms. DeSico?
Yes.
Ms. Boutros? Ms. Moore?
Yes.
And Chair votes yes.
Thank you.
All right, good luck.
Thanks.
Next, rezoning petition number 02-19, Joseph and Anthony Donato. This too is a public hearing, and I'll ask the secretary to read the notices published.
Charter Township of Shelby, notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that the Planning Commission for the Charter Township of Shelby, Macomb County, Michigan, has received a request for approval of the following amendment to the zoning map. Applicant, Joseph and Anthony Donato, Donato Brothers, 4605 22 Mile Road, Shelby Township, Michigan, 48317. Rezoning request from HM Heavy Manufacturing and R1C, One Family Residential, to HM Heavy Manufacturing. Location 4485 22 Mile Road, north side of 22 Mile Road, between Ryan and Shelby Road. Sidwell number 23-07-20-300-029. Legal description is as follows. The Planning Commission will meet on Monday, February 11, 2019, at 7 p.m. in the Shelby Municipal Building, 52700 Van Dyke, Shelby Township, Michigan, 586-726-7243, for the purpose of holding a public hearing on the rezoning application. The application for rezoning, zoning ordinance text, and zoning map may be examined at the Planning and Zoning Department in the municipal building Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Written comments may be submitted to the Planning Commission at the above address prior to the hearing. Oral comments will be heard during the public hearing. This notice is provided pursuant to the requirements of Michigan Public Act 110 of 2006 as amended. Shelby Township Planning Commission, Jerome Moffett, Chair, Raquel Moore, Secretary. This was published in the Shelby Utica News on January 23, 2019. There were 29 property owners, 2 applicants, and 9 utilities were notified by first-class mail on January 18, 2019.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kirk, did the notice meet all, did the publication meet all legal requirements?
Yes, it did.
Thank you. Secretary Moore, did we receive any correspondence?
Yes, we did. Mr. Chair, we received 2 this evening. One from a Robert Grin. He is questioning the removal of the noise or the materials on the property, the noise and the lights he's complaining. And also from a Jeff Acoustical, I'm not sure if that's his right last name, but he is requesting why the buffer zone of 30 feet that was supposed to be left existing the woods is not.
Okay, thank you. Format for this public hearing will be the same as the previous. The petitioner will state what they're requesting and the reasons for it. We'll then bring it to the board to ask questions, then open it up to the public for their thoughts and questions, and then I'll let you come back up and address anything that's raised from the board. At this point, the petitioner's here. If you could state your name and address.
My name is Joseph Donato. I live at 53751 Aurora Park in Shelby Township. Our business is at 4605 22 Mile, the property right next door to the 4485 22 Mile. This parcel that we're looking to rezone actually is residential in the back and actually heavy manufacturing in the front. And it's actually the same parcel now that the Conrail piece that was about 3,200 lineal feet that Donato Brothers handled, my brother handled all of the work for making this happen over a 3-year process. And he actually had there was 5 landlocked pieces with that, and 8 property owners and 9 parcels. So it was quite a feat for him to get all this put together with all the owners of all the businesses that were there. And it actually helped Dugan Manufacturing, so that way they could put a addition on their building because they needed the site area for their property in order to make that.
So he negotiated Conrail vacating.
My brother negotiated everything with Conrail, met with Glenn, met with Conrail, met with all the owners of all the properties. And as some of these questions that have brought about, we made the big pile of junk go away for the most part by pushing this whole thing through. The township had to deal with it, the county had to deal with it, and Conrail was dealing with it. The other, if I'm answering questions now, the parcel that they're talking about, that the 30-feet buffer that was taken away is not our property. It's actually the property to the west of us. We haven't touched any of that parcel that we're talking about rezoning yet. So the Conrail piece was bought by us, separated all out. We had all the engineering done, had all the parcels now become one parcel, so there's nothing landlocked now. And again, that's why our parcel is abutting a residential piece, because it was all one parcel originally. Conrail had their section through the middle of it, and now that's gone, so.
Okay. No, it's a bad situation, how currently, how this happened, was predated a lot of us, all of us. But it makes sense, but there's a little bit of a concern that, you're putting heavy manufacturing right in right buffering up to someone's backyard.
Our property that we currently reside, our business in, is 4605 right next door, and we actually have heavy manufacturing right to the residential now, and operate our business as well as the parcel owner Louis Tremaglia, that's just to the east of that property that also is heavy manufacturing.
I guess what I'm looking for is just, that there's a sensitivity to however
Absolutely.
you plan to develop that.
When we
Now,
go-
the fortunate thing is you are in a business that could be very creative and, in mitigating whatever nuisance that would have to those people.
And
to the
when
north.
we do go to do something with that property, we will have a site plan before we do anything, so.
And I'm sure Mr. Wynn has explained to you what that process is and what the township's requirements are.
Yes.
Okay.
Just, Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, when they come into the site plan, any building back there would have to be at least 100 feet from the property line. And any development there, they have to have a 50-foot green belt. So they could keep the existing trees. This site hasn't been a problem, but the neighbor to the west kind of clear cut. Some people have kind of clear cut back there. But this hasn't been that problem, and Mr. Donato knows that there's an obligation to meet those requirements, and that's built into the ordinance to protect those neighbors.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to kind of get that on the record.
We've honestly, we've had letters sent to us because people thought that big debris pile was ours over the years, thinking we're a landscape company, and I honestly, there was no return address, so I blanketed the whole sub and said, I apologize, that's not our property, and, I don't want to be part of somebody else's problem, but we did help that problem go away, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely been a process
Yeah.
to sort of clean up that whole corridor, to which I commend Mr. Wynn, if he's listening.
I'm sorry.
For all the work he's done to help to shepherd that, so.
Yeah, well, Mr. Donato's been before us before for the site plan.
There's been a lot of, you've got
Very
some
well
good, you've got
prepared.
some good neighbors, some bad neighbors, but some good neighbors that have kind of helped.
Try to do our best to.
Mr. Chairman, I remember, this is an area of the township that's, there's been a lot of old development there that predated all of us, didn't conform, and it's been our goal to clean up these sites one parcel at a time. And I think you can see we've had some success. This is one of the parcels. So you keep working at it that way. 22 Mile Road looks a lot better than it did 30 years ago.
Okay. To the board for questions?
I just have one question. So the parcel to the east of what you're proposing has some buffer in the back. So are you planning on having similar buffer?
Correct, yes. Yeah, we'll have a site plan that'll show the actual buffer, what we're gonna do for trees, what we're gonna leave for existing trees. Urban Land is actually working on it, so if we were to get this, then we would obviously go to that next process with the site plan, so.
Good, thank you. That's all I have.
Any other questions? Okay. This is the only public hearing the Planning Commission will hold on this rezoning request. Your remarks will be entered into the record for Township Board evaluation. The Planning Commission is a recommending body. The Township Board will take into consideration these comments when making the final decision on the rezoning. At this time, you can sit down, sir. At this time, if anyone wishes to ask any questions or offer an opinion on this request, now would be the time. Okay, you would need to come on up. I need your name and your address. And when you're done talking, to sign out on the dotted line there. Sign in first? Nah, you can talk first.
Well, to be honest with you, I just
Okay,
had a...
first thing, I need your name.
Oh, yep. Sean O'Brien, address is 4720 Marcella Drive, Shelby Township. The property with the, can I address him, is that okay?
No, you address
No?
me.
All right. So he's mentioned that there's a 50-foot green line that's to stay.
There will be. I mean,
Okay.
let's say, yeah, it's a requirement.
Okay, and I think that's all I need to know, really.
Okay.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
That's-
in that
it's
zone,
about-
Mr. Nguyen, it explained what those requirements are, and they're pretty, there's that, it's 100-foot between, if they were to put a facility there to the, and then that 50-foot buffer.
Right, yeah, there's a lot where trucks park, and that's about at 50 feet right now to the property lines, what I can tell. I think you're west of that, to my knowledge, so, yeah, as long as 50 feet stays there, I guess I'm all right with
Mr.
it.
Chairman, just for clarification, it's like a two-step process. First, he has to get the zoning changed, and then he'd have to come back with a plan. So if you want, after you write your name down, we'll put it on the file, so when they come back for a site plan, we'll make sure we notify you.
Of course, yeah, I'd be very curious to know what they're gonna put out there.
Yeah, and we're happy to share that with you.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nguyen, you were working today?
I don't have anything else to offer other than what I've already offered. Thank you.
Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
Moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Basis for our recommendation must be based on the following: the practicality of this rezoning request and the effect on the surrounding area, the owner's right to use his land, do current growth and development patterns warrant this rezoning, and is the proposed rezoning in accordance with the master plan? At this point, we may recommend approval, we may disapprove, or we can table this item to evaluate information further. And now I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval to the Township Board of Rezoning Petition 2-19 for the Donato Brothers to rezone the northerly portion of parcel number 23-7-20-300-29 from R1C, one family residential, to HM heavy manufacturing for the following reasons. Number one, the site is located in an area of the township planned for transportation industry purposes and adopted on the master plan. Number two, the current zoning boundaries are not logically drawn in relation to the existing conditions. Number three, the R1C zoning does not have access to a public road and cannot be reasonably used based on the surrounding development pattern. Number four, the zoning ordinance contains appropriate setback and screening requirements to protect the abutting single-family neighborhood to the south from any nuisance associated with the eventual use of this site for outdoor storage or a related use permitted in the HM district. And number five, no use of this site may occur until a site plan is approved by the Planning Commission.
Support.
Okay, moved by DeSico, support by Turner. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Commissioner DeSico?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Dalu?
Yes.
Commissioner Boutros?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Pone?
Yes.
Commissioner Flynn?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Good luck. Planning Director's report.
Just the standard format for our monthly report. We had 28 signs last month and 2 temporary use permits. And we have your agenda package assembled for the next meeting, 25th.
Take that.
Julie's way ahead of herself. We had these 5 meetings kind of planned out all ahead of time, and we're going to try to keep on that schedule as long as we can.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing else?
Mr. Chairman, motion to adjourn if all set.
Support.
Very good. Moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Yeah.